Welcome to this presentation on C&I water treatment, a focus on the NXT controller. This will be part one of two with a general overview followed up by an in-depth programming and diagnostic presentation at a later time. These products can be obtained through AQ Matic or a regional distributor or OEM. In summary, basically, we have an overview of the AQ Matic controls and stagers on this slide. There's the 48 series, which is a 6-port. It's the top seller and the most frequently encountered in the field, as well as being used for systems. It can be combined basically to create a single tank softener, filter, and some other type of systems, upflow systems. A 51 series is a port stager, and that has additional timed brine draw and refill, and also you can do 2 sequential filters. There's also a 58 stager, which is normally used for DI applications, mixed bed and 2 tank, as well as twin alternating softeners is the most frequent. The stagers are matched with different controllers or sold alone. In this particular presentation, we'll be going into depth on the NXT stager and controller using the 48 and 51 series. This is the networking model, and it provides a lower cost and higher features when compared to a lot of other options in the field. At a later time, we'll go into depth on the 962 series controller, which can be used on all stagers. And it also has some unique features, but this particular presentation will focus on the NXT. Why would you want to standardize on the NXT? There's actually quite a few of compelling arguments on why you would want to standardize on the NXT, and we'll go through these in this presentation. Lower operational costs. The first major reason that you would want to standardize on the NXT is lower inventory levels, as one controller can be programmed to make a single tank, a twin alternating, or a multi-tank system. Next, you're able to shorten the sales cycle. What that means is you have quicker time to invoice and better cash flow. You also are maintaining fewer SKUs in inventory or handling or bills of materials and engineering drawings, meaning lower cost overhead overall. The next operational cost savings would be having a modular and able to adapt to any current installation and quickly expand capacity for customers without having to sell and go through an entire sales cycle to sell a larger system. You basically can just add as you go. Intuitive programming. Intuitive programming means less training and easier organizational knowledge, which allows any maintenance, service, or even an inexperienced engineer to quickly grasp how to program and to provide diagnostics from any controller in the field without specialized training. And finally, you have no need to have a programmer or a coder on staff to keep up with all the different major manufacturer protocols, softwares, updates that is common with PLC and other types of controllers that are general market and not really specifically designed for water treatment processes. Flexibility and adaptation. You can use the NXT basically as a single system or multi-system, but one area that most people don't seem to realize a real big benefit with this controller is the most common train or skid of water treatment would have a multimedia or zeolite filter, a carbon filter, and then a softener, usually leading into a different type of water treatment system. It could be a DI, it could be an RO, it could be directly to some kind of process. But you can basically interlock these systems in a train as well. So you don't need to just think about controlling multi-tanks on a filter system or multi-tanks on a carbon filter system, multi-tanks on a softening system. You actually can adapt this to also lead in on the most common configuration, which would be one filter, then a carbon filter, and then a softener or a weak acid cation. You also have some flexibility and ability to skip cycles and can be paired with standard stagers like a 48 or 51, depending on how customized you want to make your system. Multiple languages allow for wide market acceptance and reaching a lot of export markets, as well as some factories might have trained staff that perhaps do not speak English, and they may want to have another language, especially if they have some subcontract manufacturing offshore. You have 3 output signals, which are able to trigger, energize, or communicate status, allowing for a wide range of flexibility and adaptation, which we'll cover more in part 2 of the programming phase of this, but you can interact with a lot of different potential unique differentiators in your product line. The NXT runs on 24 volts and is below UL and most other electrical standards. As most people that export are aware, more and more they're growing non-tariff barriers via electrical codes being implemented in countries all over the world. This allows you to source a simple transformer from any one of those countries or that meets the specific codes, plug it in, and to be able to gain easy compliance around the world. Because it does operate on a 24 volt, you also have the ability to integrate this very easily with a UPS for constant battery backup for more confidence, or adapt it to a renewable energy storage solution for autonomous system in remote areas or industries that may have water treatment needs that are far extend the normal infrastructure need. It also has plug and play capability, a simple CAT wire interlocking each one of the controllers allows for communication between the different tanks and systems. Security and confidence. A standalone controller is not liable to building system cyber attacks, which has become a major concern, and one only has to read the recent newspapers to see that a lot of our infrastructure is currently under attack. As water and water quality as well as air handling are the most critical features, some security experts are suggesting that you may not want to have a tied-in system operating those two facets, as they are so critical for buildings and industries. However, you do, if you wanted to integrate this with a SCADA or a BMS-B business automation system, you also can use the inputs and outputs to trigger regeneration or no status. However, you wouldn't be exposed to being infiltrated by viruses. You also have the ability to trigger a regeneration or backwash manually on the controller. You have an illuminated backlight, which allows for viewing in dark control rooms or during outages. Anyone that's actually done service knows that it can be very frustrating, as many control rooms and equipment rooms are very poorly lit. And this allows you to immediately see what the status and to be able to view this easily. As far as confidence as well, you also have a ribbon cable LCD screen and a no-tool removal of the board for quick servicing. It's very easy to send any type of service person and quickly change out a board or a screen and get the customer up and running and being able to troubleshoot that. This is very much not the case with a lot of the more sophisticated controllers or designers, as they are all proprietary, and they normally require either a specialist or you need to send back a very expensive main system. The stagers can be indexed manually, even with no power, they can be cycled. So if you lost complete power, as long as you had pressure, either pneumatic or hydraulic, if you were running the stager off of that, you can actually manually index and go through all the cycles and complete a regeneration or backwash. And perhaps one of the best reasons that stagers have gained so much confidence and security since 1932 and continue to have kind of a rebirth is their lifetimes far exceed almost every other type of analog automation, with an average of 20 years plus. In my own case, I did a lot of work in Latin America in my career and started that over 25 years ago, and there's major multinational plants where I could point to today that still are operating original stagers from back from that time with no problems and confident operation. On the security and cyber attacks, as most people are aware if you've read through the news or you talk to a security specialist, there's a growing amount of industrial sabotage going on. One of the most famous cases was the centrifuge catastrophe in Iran, which infected a major German manufacturer of general market controls. So using the NXT, you can avoid a lot of these infiltrations, which seem to be growing and definitely targeting the North American and European areas of the world. And finally, promoting your company. This controller allows you to really sell the unique advantages for your company. AQ Matic, as long as there's some kind of commitment, can customize a company's screen print and logo to have right on the controller, so you're selling your product to the end user. You have quicker response time and delivery, so you can beat out your competition. Shorter sales cycles and orders to cash. Modular system allows you to grow with customers adding on systems. You can grow with them and keep investment at a low. Customization of specs with inputs and outputs allow you to offer unique specifications that other people will not be able to offer. And finally, you can provide a UPS or battery backup or signal integration that provides added features. Please look forward to our next video, which will be covering everything that you want to know about programming and diagnostics. Thank you.